Out of this one.
Sorry. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Bum Crack. Happy 4th of July to you, too. I know y'all celebrate that over there. Don't know where Todd's drink's at this morning. He's probably sleeping in. So I've got the bearded picker.
Damn right. I'm an
running,
I'm an upgrade.
running shotgun. So send all your kids out the ring.
You might want to do that early today.
So, how's everything this morning?
Now the internet's working and I've got my video from last night corrected. How I'm good.
You got a lot on your schedule today?
I'm just gonna list on eBay. I've got behind them listing, so I'm just gonna list. And my whole goal today, and I've had this goal for like the last 4 or 5 days, is to clean up this side, and I gotta list my way out of it. Yeah, I would show you that side, but then I'd have to kill y'all. It's terrible.
Um,
Have we got enough people in here yet to show you your surprise yet?
no, not yet.
6 watching. That's not enough. Y'all got to go get your friends and tell people about the show. I can't be wasting all my humor on. And so
Six people.
one of those 6 is me, so 5 people.
We'll just save it for tomorrow.
What the hell?
You'll have 100 people.
Nobody wants it. Nobody wants to see this surprise. Nobody. Not even Joni wants to see this surprise. You know what she would tell me? She would tell me,
No, no, no. 1,000 times no.
Okay.
No.
because over the last 30, whatever it is, how long have we been together? I'm coming up on 34 years. We met, or no, 35 years. We met in August of 1988. That's 35 years ago here in about 6 weeks.
Dang. Good morning, Lag. Good morning, Todd.
Howdy.
How are you this morning?
Just peachy keen. Just excellent. Just the bestest.
Good morning,
Boom.
Anissa. Happy 4th to you, too.
We need to have a public service message. There are some people out there probably not listening to the show, but do they realize this is their last day with 10 fingers?
With 10 fingers?
Yeah, this is the last day for some people in this country, but I have 10 fingers.
Why that?
Because they're going to blow them off tonight on fireworks.
Oh. Not with the baby stuff they make now. They don't make nothing. They don't make real firecrackers.
No, but you can buy canister. No, you can buy even more fancy stuff now. What are you talking about?
Not down here because the babies will hurt themselves.
Lag, zip up your pants. That don't count as a finger. Come on now.
Anissa will be building her own today. She'll be getting out her camera, film, canisters, and a friend of mine and I did that one time. We tore apart a bunch of firecrackers and got all the powder and stuck it down into a film canister, and then I don't know where he got the daggum dynamite fuse from, but he had a piece of dynamite fuse. We filled that thing full of firecracker powder, put some plastic wrap in it for like wadding, put the cap on it, sealed that sucker up with duct tape, and then lit that fuse. It sounded like a bomb went off in my backyard.
And last night as I was laying there in bed, what about 11:15, 11:30, and they're still shooting off them godforsaken fireworks. I'm like, who buys fireworks and who shoots them stupid things off all night and not even the 4th? I mean, that's a good way for the FBI and some of those folks to track down the pyromaniacs and all those idiots. Because in the only time I ever saw fireworks is with Dusty. We bought some at an auction for just stupidly cheap prices, and so we shot some off. But those things they're expensive. Fireworks they're expensive.
We used to when we were little, Santa Claus would bring us so Christmas night we'd get out in the backyard firing off firecrackers. Didn't get in the front yard. You didn't play in my dad's front yard. That thing was too manicured. So we get in the backyard and fire those off all the evening.
Lag, you're on crack. The case against Trump's has almost fallen apart. The federal case that they just tried to bring against him is almost falling apart. They brought it on a lie. Have y'all seen that video where Trump is talking in a hypothetical to a reporter about about having documents? If he was still president, he could have declassified them, but they were talking in a hypothetical, was taken out of context, and he wasn't talking about the Mar-a-Lago documents. And that's what they brought 37 federal felony indictments against him on. At some point, this should be the last regular Independence Day. There should be a lot of us pissed off MFers who decided we've had enough of this bullshit, and Independence Day from the elite who think that I don't get that either. You live one time, folks. So is it that you've got so much money that you've got bored and you want to decide what you can make other people do? Is that your entertainment? Is that the six psychopaths that run things have decided, hobbies are not enough, enjoying what's in this world is not enough. You've got everything that you could ever imagine, and you want to go fuck with people? That's the entertainment you've come up with? What you can make people do?
I mean, if I'm gonna make people do stuff, it's gonna be like, how about polish my shoes because I got a full staff in my house, Anissa, go peel me a grape, that kind of thing.
Does that mean none of us really have any kind of multi-generational wealth because we don't think that way? I don't know.
People just do not have a life. I mean, they got all this money.
Is power such an aphrodisiac, such an addiction that you've got to have it no matter what? I don't get it. Maybe I'm that dumb. I don't know.
What is that? What is that, Todd? I'm scared to ask.
I'm just seeing if you could see something through the binoculars if you put them up to the computer.
Okay.
Nah, looks like nothing.
Yes, and he said for you to go peel him a grape.
Yeah, that's a line from an old Mae West movie.
I guess if any of us had that kind of boost, we'd be closer to the king in an '80s Mel Brooks movie, History of the World Part 1.
Yeah.
I mean that they could never make that movie now, but that movie was just hilariously a classic.
Half the movies that they made during the 60s and the 70s and into the 80s, they couldn't remake now because they would offend somebody.
How did they ever get Django made?
I don't know.
That was 2012 or 13. I watched an interview with what's his name before he became paralyzed and blind from the clot shot, Jamie Foxx. That what's his name? Who's the white guy? He played in Titanic, whatever his name is. He had to say the N-word over and over, and it took days for him to even where he'd hardly even say it, because it's set back in the Civil War or post Civil War
Right.
times, or actually maybe even be pre Civil War times, and so I don't know how they got that movie made. Oh yeah, they wouldn't make Blazing Saddles again.
Mm-mm.
People are just too thin skinned, and I just don't got time for it. Do what you want to. Don't care. I don't have a problem with gay people. I don't have a problem with gay people getting married. I don't have a problem with gay people adopted. Because if they can pass the dadgum background check, then that's okay.
Tutu, if
Because
they
there's
can,
a lot of damn children out there that need families. This whole trans thing, I have some issues with that. Not the
well,
fact that not the fact that they're trans, but the fact that it's in everybody's face.
well, they're trying to force you to change your beliefs in order to approve them. There's two genders. There's not 100 genders. You know, because you decide in your mind that you're a fairy tale princess. I honestly don't give a fuck whether you're a fairy tale princess or not. Go be a fairy tale princess. But that doesn't give you special access to anything else. That it doesn't give you required, like the state of Michigan. This just scared the hell out of everyone. It's going to get shot down. But to get shot down, somebody's going to have to get arrested for this. The House of Representatives in the state of Michigan passed a law that if you mispronounce someone, it can be a felony. I'm sorry. Dylan Mulvaney's got a penis. That is a dude. That is a dude acting like he's a girl. He is still a he. If you chopped it off, cut him out a hole, he'd still be a he. His DNA says he's a he. His bone structure says he's a he. And that right there will get you a felony in Michigan.
Well,
So Andrews High School, which is north of Dallas, big school. They put out a statement this summer saying students and faculty will use restrooms and locker rooms for their specific gender. And I'm like, why did they have to make that statement? Why?
But why use that term? It should be biological sex. You
Yeah,
clear them all up, because if you just say gender,
I may have paraphrased it, but
okay, but they want it where it's boys and boys, girls and girls.
right.
No, that's the way it should be. I mean, look at all over the country there are
Whatever.
cases. Remember, sexual cases of sexual assault, they get reported at a low rate. And so if we've seen a bunch of these sexual assault cases of boys and men in the women's room, how many of these go under? How many ladies in the chat, how many of y'all want to use the bathroom with a dude in there?
I just want Mr. Bumcracker, you still in here?
But I'm just wondering why the school even has to put out a statement like that. Our little school here, they're not going to put out a statement like that because they don't have to.
Because in the land of Dallas, that's a blue area of a red state.
Are y'all having such issues like this with all the trans and all this kind of rigmarole over there in the UK?
Oh yeah,
because people that I know that are from the UK laugh their ass off about the stupid
UK,
Americans, about the stuff that we do.
The UK is just as bad. Whatever's happened over here in the last few years has happened to the UK first. See, a lot of times I don't even think there should be separate bathrooms. If you go into a gas station and there are two single serve restrooms, why is one for men and one for women? Why can they not just both be for whoever gets there? They're going to go in and lock the door. There's only one toilet and one sink. There's not a urinal in either one of them. It's just a toilet. So why are they male and female? Why are they just not bathroom 1 and bathroom 2? Felix, I don't judge you. I have feelings that make me feel like I'm a lesbian.
Hey,
So Felix, is that,
you're appropriating the lesbian livelihood there, lifestyle.
but if it's a multiple stall bathroom or whatever, I'm totally against it. But if it's just single use, why do we? Why does it matter who? I can't tell you how many times I've been on the road or we've been doing yard sales and some Harlan to go to the bathroom. I'm like, man, fuck this. I ain't waiting. I mean, we'll be the only ones in there, and I'm supposed to wait while he uses the bathroom and the other bathroom's open. I mean, that's just ignorant. It's
Well,
not like I'm
a friend of mine used to travel. A friend of mine used to travel with his daughter when she was little, like 9, 10 years old. I mean, they still travel, but I remember when 9 and 10 years old, he would have to take her to the bathroom in the men's room, and he was like got his hands over her eyes, and taking her into a stall and all that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, I said, well, first of all, I've never seen men walking around with a dong hanging out while they're in the bathroom. You know what I mean? But he's like, she just don't need to see all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, I understand it.
Even for small children like that, urinals all have most of the urinals and most bathrooms you ever go and have things divide them. You're not going to walk in and but anyway.
But before he says anything, 24K, we're all not royalty club members or whatever you want to call it for your specific airplane where you go into the special lounges and everything like that. We just have to use the regular old facilities.
But I do commend Walmart and some Target. Walmart hit this early, and especially for that kind of stuff. Almost all the new Walmarts in the back have a family restroom.
Yeah. So
it's got to change. I mean, that is a wonderful idea especially if you're a store like a Walmart that has so many families, and you've got so many parents that have, mom's got little boys, dad's got little girls. There's opposite,
right?
To give that family a place to, and not to mention if my stomach's rumbling and I don't want to be dealing with it, it gives me a place just to destroy the bathroom in peace. I'm going to explode this like I'm a family. I'm going to use the family restroom.
Lag says, any cool finds?
Hey, this is a cool find. I found them for you, Tom.
What is it? Your extra large G string?
No, so I'm tired of being the one who's always talking about the big girls. Hey, little girls, I got you. Don't worry, I don't discriminate. Size small, laser cut, hipster. Hey, there's no panty lines, and it's got ventilation. You ought to see this. Oh my God!
Ventilation.
This is almost like you got nothing on at all. This is pretty close to. This is about as close to Commando as you can get. I mean, you can almost see through it. I can see through it. So this is the normal one. I couldn't find the bikini one, not the one, but they make a thong one. I couldn't find the thong one. Hey, and don't worry. Hey, Fetus, don't worry. The little protection strip or whatever, you can tuck it in there, and so they made them for you too.
There you go.
There you go.
Are those the ones that
tuck it
your
in,
lovely bride said no?
I don't know. They're just a champion brand. When we bought the big Hanes thing, those things, I bought 100 of each size of those for. I think I've got like 15 cents in them, 20 cents.
Well, since we get all the politics and the race relations and all that out of the way now, I got a question for you. Have you ever watched any of Resale Rabbit?
Yeah, I've actually met John.
Have you? Is he as nice? He seems like he's really nice. Is he?
He's a very nice guy. He's just, he comes across as more of a humble reseller. He is that guy. He's a nice guy.
He goes. The ones I've seen, which were kind of old, um, he was going to pallet auctions and buying pallets at auctions. Have you seen any of those?
Right, but I don't watch him anymore because all that kind of stuff doesn't interest me too terribly much. I started watching John early on. So John, when he first started, he called himself Resale Rabbit because his little thing was hopping across America selling, and so he was doing eBay. He was going thrift store to thrift store across the country and selling eBay out of his vehicle, and so he carried his printing supplies and he was shipped from on the road. But that was when I first started watching him, he was doing, and I found that very interesting. Versus just the pilots is not that interesting.
Right.
But when he first started, I'm like, man, you can. I was very impressed that somebody would actually take the time to figure out how to do eBay, because the eBay from the road Amazon from the road is much easier. You just put it in a box, send it to a warehouse, you're done.
Right.
To do eBay and have to change your address every time and ship out individual items and then pick what you're going to carry with you and what you're going to do, because you can only do so much.
Right. I mean, I just wonder because he buys like truckloads of pallets at auction, and
Yeah,
some
he
of
does.
it do what?
I said, yeah, he does. He drives hundreds of miles to go to the auction, then he hires a big ass truck to bring it to his warehouse. Yep.
He must come over into your neck of the woods to a pallet auction, because he says he flies into Atlanta and then drives 2 hours to the west. So that would be putting it over in.
I know where he goes.
Do you?
It's not west.
What?
Yeah, it is west. It's more southwest, but I know where he goes.
But
there's actually two that he goes to. But yeah, it's right on the Alabama over towards Carrollton, Georgia.
He makes the stupidest jokes in his videos, and I just sit here and laugh at him, like, that was funny, rabbit.
It's like the 10-year-old boy comes out.
Yeah, it wasn't really funny, but I sit there and laugh at him like.
I was watching one last night, or listening to one last night, and he was yard selling, and it wasn't going well.
Yeah, I've got some video the last time I shot 2 weeks ago, and when Harlan was at the flea market, they were off. The yard sales I went to were off. I need to upload those.
I posted the link if anybody wants to come in and join this convo.
So, I got my refund check from FedEx for smashing the stereo that I sent it. Thank you, FedEx. They even paid for the original shipping.
Wow.
Unlike United States Postal Service.
Fila says on all Emirates flights on the A380 they have showers in them. You can take a shower or enjoy the Mile High. So does that mean, Felix, if you take your boyfriend in there, is it still the Mile High Club if he rams it to you? That'd be like a mile of shame and
Good morning, Deb. Boyfriend beard. But anyway, he buys some pallets that are real expensive, but then he buys some that's not that very, less than $100, and it has a lot of stuff on it that look to me like it could be resold on eBay or Amazon.
I think one of his best ideas, he does, I think, once a quarter or once every 6 months, because he buys so much stuff. What's the one thing that you have to be able to do if you buy so much stuff? You gotta be able to get rid of it, and there's just so much in pallets that you get that's got a little bit of value, but not enough to list or waste your time or to pay somebody to do it. And so he has that dollar sale. Yeah, that dollar sale is absolutely amazing. That is a incredible idea. So there's another guy I follow on TikTok who he's not buying them right now, but he buys storage units. He's in the military, so he's been stationed somewhere for 9 months. But when he gets back, he buys store. And so what does he do with his leftovers and stuff that's just not worth it before he donates? He puts it in his driveway and chains a pay box to the end of by his house and puts cameras on it and advertises that it's a pay as you want yard sale. And people come and take whatever they want. And if you want it for free, he didn't lose anything. And if you whatever you want to pay for it, he said he averages $250 a day, and he runs it 3 or 4 days. And so he picks up another $500 to $750 for items that he was just going to donate or throw away anyway. So, the one thing, the name of this game is getting rid of stuff, and those two guys have really, ingenious ways of going. You know what? How can I get a few more dollars out of this and have people come take it? Because if you fill the dumpster up, you're paying for these dumpsters. So I'm sure John has a dumpster to get rid of all the trash and stuff. But
yeah, and there's no fees.
Yeah, no fees, no nothing.
No shipping, no. Actually, you could probably get away with without paying tax, unless you just felt the need to pay the federal government more money.
Sorry to hear that you're under the weather, Glenn.
Yeah, he said yesterday, wasn't it yesterday? He said he was not feeling great.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, I just found it interesting because that's got to run into some big bucks when you start scheduling it. And really, I need to message him and say, how when you're riding around, talk about how you do it. He scheduled a truck for one of the ones that I was watching. He scheduled a truck that was going to pick up these 30 pallets he bought and then take it all the way to
Green Bay, Wisconsin. Green Bay, Wisconsin. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you, what if you don't buy anything? You still got a truck? Are you still paying for a truck to be?
No, it's I think that was an online auction. So I believe he knew what he got. Or
no, the one I was watching was a live auction.
Well, I guess that he bought it and then he scheduled the truck afterwards. I would think, because you have to tell the truck company how much you got so they know. Because the one thing about these trucking companies is, they're not just going to send a truck from Atlanta to Green Bay with just his stuff if he doesn't fill the truck up.
Yeah.
It might go through Indianapolis and, make a couple stops so they can add. They really make their money by adding extra stops on.
Well, he previews those auctions, doesn't he? Don't they have pictures of the pallets that are available? And
yeah, I'll find out the name of them and let you know.
Not that I'm going to get into the pallet buying business, but I just found it real interesting that's.
So there's a couple here that we met through the Huntsville meetup that another guy started. There's like 8 or 10 of us that show up every month, and they buy Target pallets. In that, usually he said they bought an older warehouse outside of town. I mean, like 15 miles out of town, where things are reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
And they generally get a truckload at a time or half a truckload. Half a truckload is still 26 pallets because they double stack the pallets, so it would be 52 full. And she sells on eBay, but the one thing with Target and they buy the clothing pallets is she found that because she's been reselling for years, and she found that she had a much bigger market on Poshmark. And so she's established on Poshmark, and then when Poshmark went live, they are really, really doing well with Poshmark Live.
Backyard mowing says I do nothing but pallets. I don't think I've ever talked to you before, to be honest with you. Whereabouts are you from? unless you're using a different name and you forgot to switch your account.
So I'd be curious with Amazon, Home Depot. How much time do you spend testing things?
Me?
No, backyard mower. How much?
Backyard. I went into one of the things where they buy pallets of Amazon returns and they put them out on tables, and they start them off at $5 and $4.
A bin store.
That's it. And I was talking to this one guy because I picked up a couple of things, and they were just cables, but they were cables that I wanted. And he's like, "What are you gonna do with those?" I said, "Well, these are for my personal use." I said, "But if anything I pick up, I'll go on eBay." And he says, "Well, why don't you do Amazon?" And I picked up one of the cables that I had, and he said, "You see this sticker right here? That's the Amazon sticker. That means it didn't sell, and somebody either recall because it was like new condition. It had never been open."
Those stickers say LPN on them, Amazon returns or the LPN stickers.
And I said, so that means they didn't sell. So I don't think I would want to send something back in that that just came back from them. Let's see. What does he say? Electronics side, just power test unless it's clearly new or sealed. Find a good source. You get the good returns, not the junk returns. So you sell on eBay or Amazon, both?
Yeah, I've been thinking about buying a power tool to run through the auction and see how that works out.
Well, I was thinking about that same thing too. Because you're making LPN is best beard. You're making a couple $1,000s a week, and you're not even really trying on your auctions there. If you really put some effort in it, you could hang up the eBay and Amazon thing.
Well, I only have 3 tables, so it's about space. So,
well, you just got to tell them to expand.
Man, that place is so popular. I think you were mentioning yesterday. You're telling somebody he is scheduled out his extra stuff that's not committed. He keeps so much space that's not committed for local people and other. He was scheduling into October 3 weeks ago. There's no telling what he's scheduling it to. He's probably into November by now. That place is so freaking popular, and it's 23 to 2,500 lots per week that roll in and out of there. By the time I left yesterday, they were already processing the stuff that we were dropping.
That's the link up there if anybody wants to join us.
Yeah, Roman goes to those bins.
You you bring everything in and put it on the table, right? You sort it out stack it out in lots. Is that what you do, or do they lot it up like they think it'll sell best?
Some people, it goes both ways. Some people just throw it on the table and let them, kind of organize it, but they kind of figure out. I'll put a 4x6 card or index card in front of it to tell them, what the item is and what's in. So it takes me a few minutes to write them out. If it's something.
Could you take your own pictures and just hand them the pictures and say, "Can you use these instead of the ones you're going to take"?
No,
because you've said yourself that.
Hold on just a minute. Who was singing? Good. Oh, that was Scott.
Who's what?
Who was singing?
It wasn't me.
There's a lady singing. About?
I don't hear it. What are you talking about?
Okay. Well, I'm just going crazy. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, because they have.
Tom's got voices in his head.
Because
they have
Scott's
grilling with me.
processes, and the kids that take the pictures on a certain section go in the afternoon and upload it. So you would add some difficulty to it. But he's gotten a little better. So I sent him a message as I was looking at mine for this weekend. I put a lot number, whatever it is, 1476. They described it as a Cuisinart conical blender. I'm like, conical blender? That's a damn coffee burr grinder. The kid, evidently they didn't drink coffee. They didn't know anything about coffee. It's a conical blender, So you have to watch it because the kids just don't. But then here I've got another one here. I'll show you the picture.
Oh.
They've gotten better at some of their.
I hear it now.
Hot damn.
See, you didn't have a picture. You need to use a picture of a Rolex or something for your screen because I didn't
Guys,
see.
for the last 5 minutes, I've been playing this Indian song, and Thom has thought it was beer the whole time.
No,
That was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Scott was messing around with me, is what I thought.
Hey, so look at that picture there. That's a lighted globe, and I said on the card, lighted globe from the 60s, it works. And I put the manufacturer. They actually went and plugged it in and took a picture, and that thing it's up to $20 already, and it doesn't end till Thursday night. So that they're getting better. If you've got something special, if you tell them, they will. This person actually, took really good pictures of this one, and got a picture of the label. I was shocked when I saw this one. That they went through all that.
I really think, in my opinion, which I have many, I think that would be a better way to do auctions than the conventional one, where you've got to have people moving stuff, like the auctioneer's at the front of the room and he's got people bringing stuff up and around, or they're having to move around the building, selling lots, like pallets on tables and whatnot.
Yeah, you have to figure out what your rules are in your state, but because that was in Tennessee, so I don't know what the Tennessee laws are. I know, but that's an auction. They're a real estate auction company anyway. So the guy who runs that, he's a licensed auctioneer. But that's that auction. So just think, if it's 2,500 lots, and they get 30% from the seller and 15% from the buyer, 2,500 items. What kind of money are they making? It becomes, because there's big numbers. They sell anything. So this week there's a truck in the auction this week. So if you sell an automobile, the percentage goes down. If you sell guns, any gun that sells over 200 is only 10%, and I think anything over 300 they drop to 10%. But
that's not how watch auctions work or luxury auctions work. They take 30%. I mean, if it's $1 million, they'll take 300,000.
No shit.
Yeah, straight up. And that's literally how it works.
So that truck's got 240,000 miles, and it's got a little ding in the back quarter panel. But other than that, that's an SL or whatever. It's got leather. That's a nice little truck. It's a 2007. But they sell. But you see lots of stuff, like here's a biparting deer entrance gate. It's at $250 already, whatever these things are. Like if you're gonna gates for your house, if Thom, you keep people out of your house, you can put gates up like Felix in front of it. But they sell pretty much anything, man. So here's a Smith & Wesson. It's a $350 already. Here's a Chevy Aveo, that little bitty thing. It's a $1,200 a utility trailer. So they have the space. So they, I wonder what their average lot sells for.
Well,
because mine, I had 72 last week for $9.90. What's 72 divided by 9.90? So my average is $13.75 just for me.
You need to send your son to auctioning school since he's trying to find a self.
I just found a way to make $250 off
That's
selling.
illegal. That's illegal here in the United States, Felix.
Off selling. No, the thing is, like I told you guys yesterday, I've been going to Rolex for the last year and a half to try to get batteries for this special watch that they have, and each time they were telling me that they don't have the batteries, they ordered them, they're stuck at customs, blah blah blah. And the problem with it is they won't allow you to change it with any other battery. It has to be the specific kind of battery, and they won't tell you what it is. So finally, yesterday, I got in a fight with our customer service manager there, and I said, if I buy the battery, will you install it? He said, yeah, of course. I said, okay, give me the name of the battery. And he literally just gave it to me because he was just wanting me out of there. I went back and I ordered 10 of them off Amazon, and they were $20. And then basically, I'm selling each battery for $250.
Dang.
I've never found an easier way to make money than that. And they're all gone. All 9 are already gone. So I'm thinking of just ordering more from the UK. I don't understand why people, because I guess they don't know what the name is and stuff like that. But my question to you guys is this: isn't there different markets? So like, what Beard sells or what Beard might sell in Alabama is going to be completely different than what might be sold in New York or what might be hot in Chicago and so forth. Wouldn't it be wise if you guys started looking at each other's markets and sending stuff off to be sold in different markets that you might make more?
Well, I sell junk. So
Well, to you it's junk. To others, it might be something that's worth, a lot.
I'm not selling $250 watch batteries for a $20,000 watch.
So Felix, I know people that do that, Felix. There's an auction house here, a regular auction house, in-person auction, that one of the sellers every other week or so, he goes up into the Northeast and buys furniture, because furniture up there is much cheaper because they've made a lot of that through the years up there, and brings that older furniture down here. Because those rat bastard Union Yankees burned all our shit down here from that time period. So they burnt the South and tried to destroy us. So there's to find older furniture and that kind of stuff. It's just not down here, and so he makes a lot of money. He'll go up there with it used to be a U-Haul truck. I guess it's a 26-footer or whatever, and fills that thing slam up. Sometimes he drags the trailer back with it. And so that people do that. You're exactly right. There are certain areas
Well, let me give you an example. So in the Muslim world or the Islamic world, so the Middle East, a lot of Asian countries and so forth, men don't wear gold. Yeah, it's against the religion. So you can get good price.
Did you say men don't wear gold?
Islam for a man to wear gold.
no kidding.
So
I didn't know that.
So they can't. So here they don't sell a lot of gold watches, right?
Right.
And then you've got in America they buy a lot of gold watches, the yellow gold. In Europe they don't like yellow gold. They think it's it's like too showing off. So they prefer white gold. In Asia they prefer the smaller watches. In the US they prefer the bigger watches. So if I go to Japan and I want one of these big watches, you can usually get them there for a lot cheaper, than I would be able to get it in the US because there's no market for it there. So there's a market literally for everything. You just need to find the niche, and that's why I travel, is because I know that this market's going to have this in stock for cheaper than if I bought it here. Not because of anything else, because people don't want it or they can't wear it or whatever it is.
So Muslims with gold is just the yellow part. It's not actual gold itself, because white gold.
No, it's all gold. And gold is seen as a way of like making yourself pretentious, and
so how do they get away?
That money.
Do they wear white
the women
or not?
Women they can wear platinum. They can wear silver, but they can't wear gold.
That's just men.
That's just for men, correct?
So let me throw you a scenario at you. You fly to Tokyo and you buy a bunch of watches at a reasonable price, and then you fly from Tokyo to New York.
Yep.
No, let's don't say New York because New York they charge you 40% on everything on taxes. You fly to
Yep.
Miami
Yep.
and you sell them there. Now,
Okay.
other than the cost and the airfare, are you going to have to be dealing with import fees, or are you just
Me?
going to be like the guy at New York City? You want to buy a Rolex and you got 6
No.
Rolexes on your
Okay. No. Usually the way that it works is the watch is already sold before I get to New York.
Okay.
So whoever's buying it is the person who's going to be paying customs. That's up to him. He wants to pay customs. He wants to be. That's all up to you.
Because
And at the end of the day, I'm not a store. I'm not any. This is my own private collection that I'm selling. My name is on the card and everything. So
at the end of the day, you're just a courier at that point.
yeah, and like I said, it's up to him to do all the paperwork and stuff like that and declaration. And if you same thing with shipping and stuff like that. When you go here, when I want to sell a watch, there's a special DHL office. So you can't go to the regular DHL offices that everybody else would go to. You have to go to a specialized one. And there they have someone who will actually come and look at it and he'll inspect it. And then they charge you between $1,000 to $3,000 just to ship it because there's insurance on it, there's this and that and so forth and so on. Part of that is you have to declare it, and the customs and the other person who's getting it shipped to him has to send the money pre-advance, saying, the customs we think is going to be between 2,000 to 5,000. You send 5,000. If it's less, we'll send back the money that you want.
Cool. Back before DHL and Flying Tigers and FedEx and all those people, I had a buddy who was right out of college and he was a courier. He
Yep.
flew from the United States to Europe to Asia all the time. He'd have a briefcase full of paperwork and
Yep.
whatever, nothing illegal because it was all through regular reputable companies. But that's all he flew from Charlotte to London, picked up some paperwork in London, flew from London to Hong Kong. From there, he flew back into Hawaii and back into the U.S. through Los Angeles. And he was picking up and dropping off as he went. And it was all through one company that did all the scheduling. It's like when you have to have it now and you want it to be hand carried. So
Back in the day,
he made some good money and he racked up. He must have had like 50 billion frequent flyer points.
back in the day when there was, when everything was fine and everybody was okay, you'd actually, if I wanted to send something to my mom, I'd just go to the airport and just ask people that were traveling, like, yo, can you take this document from my mom? She'll meet you at the airport there. And they usually would do it. Now, no one would do that for you. But
Right.
Back then, people used to do that too. I've got medicine for my mom, or I've got something that she forgot or that she needs. You just go to the airport and ask just kindly, like, can someone help me out? My mom's there. Or someone will meet you at the. People used to do, people used to be more helpful.
A friend of mine not too long ago was flying from France back in the United States, and he had he had 2 or 3 bottles of expensive. It wasn't wine; it was something else. But anyway, it was a liquor, and it was expensive. Anyway, they said you can only take 2. You can only take 2 bottles in the country with you. And he said this little lady standing behind him said, "Well, I'll take one of them for you, sir." So he handed it to her, and she, when they got through New York, she gave it back to him.
I flew once from Amsterdam. I was going back, and I had maybe like $9,000 worth of gold and silver coins that I had bought there. And for some reason, they stopped me. They called customs over, and I was just laughing because I was like, "I'm leaving the country. I'm not coming in." And then at the end, I didn't understand what their whole situation. Why are you hassling me and stuff like that. And then at the very end, I just took out a receipt and I said, "Guys, the limit is supposed to be 10,000, and that's if I'm coming into your country. I'm not coming. I'm going out, and I'm still under the limit." And as soon as they saw the receipt, they're like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. You can go." Yeah, sometimes things like that always happens. If you're, but as long as you know what the law is, you're fine.
When we flew into Moscow when we were adopting Sergey, our oldest son. We were told by several people that had already adopted through the agency that we were using and whatnot that not to carry anything more than what you show on your declaration form. And we were traveling with like $12,000 in cash. So before we got off the plane, I was just dropping change and some extra $1 bills and stuff like that into the back, into the pocket on the airplane, and my wife was doing the same thing. And even when we got to customs, they looked at our form and they asked us who was carrying the cash, and my wife said she was, and so they took her into another room and they had to count out all the money that she had, because if you had more, they would confiscate it all.
Well, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but back in the 1940s, they passed a law by the UN to talk about gold coins. So if a gold coin has a monetary value on the front of it, you can actually declare it as that monetary value. So if you look at a gold 1 ounce gold eagle, I think it says $20. Pops, it says 20 on the front or 100?
50, I think.
50, there you go. You could actually then take as many of those as you want, as long as it's under $10,000. Now, when you get there, the customs people, they don't know that. So they're sitting there looking at you like, hey, you've got 20 ounces of gold coins. That's worth, you should have, no, I've got $50 worth of gold coins. Each one says 50 on it. There's a monetary value on it for a reason.
Right.
And that's why a lot of people, when they buy these gold coins, they go for the coins that have it. That's why they don't buy bars. For the simple reason that you can declare it as a monetary value. So if I wanted to go into a shop in New York and give him that gold coin that's worth $1,900 and buy a Pepsi with it, and he gives me back $49, that's my problem. But it is $50.
Okay, to answer your question, Tom, 133 million registered voters, 74.5 million Trump votes, leaves 58 million. So do I believe in Bigfoot or 81 million votes? I believe in Bigfoot.
Wait, what are we talking about now? What are we talking about?
Something I shared on Facebook. It's a picture of Bigfoot, and he's got a T-shirt on. Read what the T-shirt says, Todd. Scott.
The T-shirt says, "I am more believable than 81 million votes."
So,
Are we talking about President Biden?
No, the last election's what it's implied.
I pledged allegiance to Biden. One nation, under God, indivisible, with justice, and just not for Republicans.
Hey, it's a good thing that you're out of here. I'm gonna put your name on a watch list somewhere.
Put my name. You can't put my name on anything. I'm like, remember that movie with Travolta when he went to France and he was trying to get in?
Nope.
You've never seen that movie with Travolta when he goes to France? I forgot the name of the movie. He goes to France and he's trying to get in. He's got all these guns and the customs there are screwing with him. Finally, he just takes out a sticker, puts it on, and it says diplomatic immunity, diplomatic patch. Yeah, you can't put my name anywhere.
We don't have that kind of time to just sit around and watch movies.
Oh yeah.
And FYI, if anybody wants to join my Facebook group, it's Thom Hucks, THOMHUCKS.
Is that where we can pick up old men?
Oh man, yeah. And if you're thin-skinned, don't join, because I have no filter.
Yeah, like I picked up that lighted globe. I think $3 or $4 at an estate sale. That was a good one. So Harlan and I, we were out doing yard sales, and it was the best estate sales, or it was just the family selling stuff, and so we were the first ones there on a Friday, and that was one of the things I picked up. It was we had bought so much. She's like, I'll just add $4 to your total. I think it was $4, and I plugged it in. It worked. I worried about shipping it and it getting dented, especially something from the 60s. And I'm like, you know what? I wonder what happens if I run to the auction. It's pretty. It's a cool piece, and there's people up there at that auction that will see that kind of stuff.
What was the 14? The numbers? Is that your lot numbers?
Yeah, that's me this week. Just to show you what, and the audience, what kind of stuff we picked up. I mean, and it's a wide. You'll see. I mean, it's everything from a 60s lighted globe. I've got yarn up there. I've got quilt fabric that me and Harlan picked up at state sales. I'm running pretty much a little bit of everything this week. DVD, a lot of DVDs, a mailbox, an NSYNC doll.
Yeah, I was talking to some people about your hangouts and what you guys do. I just find it fascinating. And but the conclusion we came to is you can't do that except in the U.S. There's no other market in the world we don't have the population that you have.
Right.
That would be able, and the shipping capabilities and capacity that you guys would be able to have. I mean, here, up until when Amazon came a few years ago, like I said, those batteries, although they cost me $20, before Amazon came, the shipping would have been $200 to $300.
And I don't think other countries are not built the way we are either, with the Walmarts every 10 feet, and we are such a consumer-driven marketplace.
Oh, in that sense, we're more a consumer. I mean, we've got all the Walmarts, we've got them from all over the world. So you've got even the $1 shops from Japan. They've got everything here, but you just don't have the market for it. People don't have the exposure to it. People still here don't trust. I mean, eBay, no one buys from eBay here. And even Amazon, people have problems with it because a lot of the items there they think is fake.
I mean, you look at that right there, and I picked up that clock at a yard sale. It's an Auburn clock. It's like a stained glass looking. The battery was corroded, so the lady sold it to me for 50 cents. So it's at $9 right now. So you take their 30% and less than 50. I'm making $5.50 for putting a battery in that. And laying it at the auction. It's one item.
But Beard, it's just what I'm saying is it's a completely different market. Here, they don't have garage sales. They don't have yard sales. When they're changing a house, they just throw everything out. Literally, you can see it. They've got huge trash containers outside, and everything's just being put in. I mean, they took out. I mean, I had a house next door that just did this recently. They completely upgraded the house. And one of the things they took out like a complete phone system from like the 1960s, 70s, and just threw it out. They could have sold. I mean, when you go look it up on eBay, they sell for like 12,000, 13,000 because it's supposed to be a classic and antique now. People are looking for them. People here don't put a substance to it. Anything that's broken or it doesn't work, or even if they don't use it. So like, they buy clothes that didn't fit them or that, they would literally just go give them away. We don't have the concept of selling used items, and people here don't have the concept of buying a used item. Like, why am I buying something used?
Well, I follow a lot of people on, like Americans living in Japan and whatnot. The Japanese don't buy used.
Yeah,
they don't buy used. There was one guy that my wife used to follow, and I watched him with her. He bought a farmhouse for near nothing because people don't buy used houses in Japan, and it was full of vintage porcelain teacups and sake sets and stuff like that. And he said they were going to end up taking them to the dump because nobody would buy them. And I'm thinking to myself, man, if it wasn't so expensive to ship, you could send it to the United States and people would buy it left and right.
Tom, it's the same. It's exactly the same here. When a person comes to buy your house, if it's a used house, they're not buying the house; they're buying the land.
Yeah,
they're not looking at the house. Like they won't even come in to look at the house. They're just like, "Oh, how big is the land? Let me see where it's located." Okay, fine. Because to them, the whole concept is, I'm going to demolish it and build a brand new house.
That's what they do over there.
It's just, I don't understand that mindset yet. Is why, the house is old, it's there, it's been standing, it's got better steel than the modern stuff, it's built, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you just want something, but no, to them it's no. I just want, it's just the land value. And that happened to me when I bought my house, and then they were telling me that. I was like, wait, so what happens now when I sell them? Because, I'm like, no, land prices goes up, but it's not your house. We don't care about your house.
So Franklin's got a message for y'all. He says, fuck the 4th of July, Fuck your fireworks. I hate all you bastards.
Yeah, my cats do the same thing. They don't particularly care for the fireworks. But yeah, that was one of the things. And you can just Google cheap houses in Japan, and they need some work, mind you, but they're not in a real bad location or anything like that, and nobody wants to buy them because they're used houses.
But it's almost the opposite here, Felix. Go to the bank and tell them that you want to get a loan on a piece of land, and that's very difficult. But if there's a house on it, even if it's a piece of junk and it can be appraised, they will give you a mortgage on a property.
Yeah.
But just if anybody wants it, Felix, if you want to get you an estate in North Carolina, there's 6,500 acres for sale for $95 million. And that's all contiguous. That's not like scattered all over a county.
In 1990, the U.S. government confiscated a drug dealer's house in Washington, D.C., and they put that house on auction. It was 16 acres in Potomac, Maryland, but you had to pay for it in cash. We ended up winning that bid at around $5 million, and then we sold each lot, 1 acre lot, for $2 million. So the government auctions is what I remember in the U.S. used to be huge, especially for real estate and stuff like that.
They have changed the government auctions around here. It used to be I went to, it was govdeals.com, and it would throw up all the auctions for around North Carolina and South Carolina. And now it doesn't come. I don't know whether they've changed to a different system or service or whatnot, but nothing comes up around here. And used to be Charlotte, Mecklenburg, the county I live in, which is where Charlotte's at, they would have 400 items on there, and some of it was good, some of it was bad. I'm still selling brass fittings from one auction.
There's gonna be huge auctions coming up in the U.S. If you guys are interested in real estate. They're gonna have one in I think in Florida, and then they're gonna have one in New Jersey. They're gonna have one in New York. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of Trump properties up for auction soon.
Yeah, right.
Nah. I'm telling y'all, this is all going to blow over because they're open.
Blow over with what?
The administration
you
is
still have
opening
the same
up
people running
war.
the election. It's still Biden and Trump. Over what?
Yeah.
It's still the same two guys, both of them over the age of 90. What?
You got to realize though, is as much as Biden struggles right now, in the next 18 to 20 months, he's not going to be able to say his own damn name. I mean, they're not going to. It's going to be very hard to hide because the one thing, all of us have older relatives, and it is sad to watch the decline. But the one thing everybody knows is just think about Grandpa. When Grandpa starts to show dementia and show signs of age, it ain't like Grandpa's 80 and then at 90 he kind of wipes out. It's Grandpa's 80. At 81, Grandpa don't know who Grandpa is. I mean, it's very fast.
Yeah.
Can we agree on one thing, though?
No.
Yeah. There's no difference between the two of them. You're talking about Hunter Biden stole, and then you've got Jared Kushner's. You guys, you're not looking at the problem. You're just trying to blame. They're the same. As someone who's from outside, I'm telling you, I don't see a difference between the two of them.
Are you mad that Jared had all those peace deals between your people and Israel? Is that what made you mad?
No. How about the $2 billion or $3 billion that he got? 2 from us and 1 from Qatar. Does that make you mad?
All right. Where's the proof that he got those billions?
Go look it up. Look it up in any of the newspapers. He got $2 billion invested into him by the Saudi investment fund, even though the heads of the Saudi investment fund were against it and said this guy is a total. He's not going to be there, but then they were forced to still go ahead and do it. He got $2 billion from us and $1 billion from the Qataris.
Okay, first of all, I don't believe anything any newspaper has to say.
No, Thom, I'm not telling you to believe anything. I'm telling you they're the same. There's no difference. They are the same.
That. I understand what you're saying on that. But I was just saying I don't believe anything
And I don't think Biden's going to be the one running against Trump. I
If
think
you think any one of them cares about you
I
or
think
the common folks, you guys are I don't know what to say anymore.
it's going to be Big Mike. It's going to
They're
be
the same.
It's going to be Big Mike versus Trump.
They're the same. You
Are
want
you
to change
kidding?
them? Change your
Kamala's
what
going
you
to be
need to
the
do.
next president.
What you need to do is change the voting system. The first past the post system is not working. You need to change it. There's things that you need to change in order to become a real democracy.
Oh hell no, not that fucking bullshit where the second and third place get to be counted on somebody else's.
I didn't say you have to go to a list system. No one said that you have to go to this system, but I'm just telling you that the first past the post system, where 51%, 50.1% say one thing, and then the other 49 point say something else, and then you guys stand there and say, "Hey, look, he's got 100 million, and where did the other 80 million come from, and where did this all come?" Hey, you guys, this is your electoral system. You have an electoral system where big companies end up paying for the elections. Why? Why are there people? Why are there companies paying for election? Why isn't it just regular folks? Why?
I'm a firm believer in, and if I was a congressman,
no advertisements. Don't buy advertisements for you buy 5 minutes for each candidate. That's it. That's all they get. You give them all equality and stuff, and then you start picking the best person. Come on.
I am for you're running for a position. You're only allowed to accept money from people that can vote for you. That
exactly.
means if I'm running for a state senator, that means I can only accept money from eligible voters from the state of North Carolina.
Cha-ching. I agree 100%.
I'm saying that there should be term limits. And here's a radical thought that I wholeheartedly agree with. If you are on the government's fucking payroll, you should not be allowed to vote. If you're on welfare because you're voting based on what they're promising you, I don't think you should be allowed to vote. We take away rights of felons. That's not just because you have a felony. There's nowhere in the Constitution that says that disqualifies you from voting, but we've done that. So why are we allowing people who, you create a welfare state? 50-some% of the people in this country are given money by the government. They shouldn't vote.
Well, I'm ready for the next election. I'm going to start.
Maybe we should look at the real problem that you just talked about. So forget about that. Why are there 51% of Americans that are that poor, that they need welfare?
They're not poor. They're lazy, but the vast majority of them are lazy.
So Americans are lazy now.
Yeah.
The vast majority of this 20. Look at the workforce. How many are we paying right now since the pandemic? How many are we paying to sit out and not work and have it come back? The crooked ass government tells you that, oh, look how low unemployment rate is because they quit counting all the ones after 18 months. We're going to ignore like they even exist. We're not going to count. The unemployment rate is 6%. The actual unemployment rate is probably closer to 20.
And this video will be over on Rumble because it's probably going to get taken down at some point. I just think that they need to put some rules up there because we get blasted. Starting this fall till the end of next year, it's going to be one political ad or another on the radio or on TV or on YouTube. And the junk mail is going to start coming in.
All the PAC money and all that stuff needs to come out. All that. You need to remove PAC. If you want to fix America, you get rid of all these damn political PACs. You get a little lobbying. It's legal. It's because the politicians want to be bribed. They allow. We're not going to call it bribery. We're going to call it lobbying. Oh, horseshit! You bunch of fucking liars. You get rid of the money out of the system.
You guys heard of you guys know about all the scams that are happening now with people calling you up and saying they're from Amazon or from IRS or whatever it is. These scams that are happening all the time now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. One country's actually made a dent in that, which is the United Kingdom.
Right.
They've actually gone to the banks and said, you are responsible for any person's money that goes out of their accounts into these scammers. They're responsible. So the bank has to actually reimburse you. That crime is no longer in the UK. Within a year and a half, the banks have figured out a way to fix it. Just because they're now responsible for that money being paid. Why doesn't the US do the same thing, or Australia do the same thing with all these billions and trillions that's going out?
Because they can do, if they can look at your debit card and the way you spend money and suspend your debit card, going, hey, this might be fraud. They easily should be able to detect that and go, this might be fraud.
Exactly.
The money going. I mean, all you have to do is block money going to Nigeria or some of these other countries. I mean.
Well, that's just it. Beard. The problem is in America, it doesn't go out the country. It goes to another account in the same bank. Right. I mean, I saw a story where the guy was, they chased it and it went to the same bank. It was in the same bank, an account from one bank to another bank, one of the big banks in America. I don't want to say his name.
They're probably making money on the fees and transfers.
Of course.
So they want to keep making the money.
Of course. So, and then you look at companies like Amazon, Amazon, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Amazon pays 0 taxes in Europe because they set up in Ireland, which is a tax-free zone. So how can a company that sells trillions of dollars in sales and in these parts and then pays 0 taxes?
They don't pay
because
here.
The government allows it because the people allow it.
The government allows it because Amazon is supporting those people to get elected. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. The government allows it, and the people that vote for these candidates, they allow it because nobody feels like they have to answer to anybody anymore.
There's one congresswoman. I think she's from Arizona, Cinema or whatever her name is. Is that her name?
Yeah, she's a loser.
Dude, she doesn't care. She's like, yeah, I'm here for the rich. I don't care about everybody else. She just said it. She didn't care.
Yeah, she's Arizona. But the problem is that she's up for re-election this time.
She ain't winning.
I don't think she can win. I don't think she can beat Carrie Lake.
She can't beat anybody.
Because the two people there's 3 people going to be in that race, and 2 of them will split one half, and Carrie Lake will take the rest. Carrie Lake will win that race.
Have you ever seen the movie The Candidate? It's got Will Ferrell in it.
I remember. Yeah. I've never seen it, but I remember.
Okay.
Funny movie.
Well, Will Ferrell is a seasoned politician, and he doesn't attend anything. He don't do anything. He's got a job for 6 years. He's good. You can't get fired. So anyway, the whole thing is that he gets voted in. He's even if he doesn't get reelected, he's still got all the medical plan for the rest of his life and all that kind of crap. He's set up, and I think that's what a lot of these people do. They're going into it for if they can hang out 6 terms. I mean, like for a congressman, it'd be 2 terms. Because don't you have to be there for 3 years before you're completely vested?
Once you're there, they give you retirement for life.
I thought it was you had to be there like 3 years.
That would mean.
I remember when I was at university and I wanted to study social policy and politics. I wanted to study politics, actually. And my professor sat me down. He said, why do you want to study politics? Your whole family's in politics. You guys inherit everything over there anyways. And at the end of the day, what are you going to, they end up getting killed or they get put in jail or you get, kicked out of the country. He said, I've got a job that will secure you for life and you'll be happy. And I said, what is it? And he said, become a civil servant. I said, what the hell is a civil servant? And then he taught me about mandarins in the UK and how they run everything. And they're there for 40, 50, 60 years. And they make all the decisions and the minister has to actually follow what they say. And if something goes wrong, the minister can't even name him and the minister has to resign, not him, because he's there for continuation.
I think
so. Imagine, this is in England. This is Britain, the home of democracy. And they have civil servants that are there for 50, 60 years that no one knows about. They're actually in control of everything. They call them mandarins. You can look all this up. I'm not making it up.
How are they the home of democracy when they've been a kingship and a?
If you look up democracy, the home of democracy, the first, it's England. It's not the U.S. It's England.
Because they are a democratic country, their form of government is just different.
The United States is not a democracy, so there's your problem there.
Yeah, we're a republic.
Well, the other thing is, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the UK doesn't even have a constitution. They don't have a Bill of Rights.
That's correct. That is
So,
correct.
so they have, you can't say, get up and say, I have my right. You have no right. Your right is whatever we decide is your right.
Where we have the
They
right.
They follow something called common law. Common law means what we did in the past, we can do now.
Well, we have
It's
the right to free
precedent.
speech. We have free speech, and the Second Amendment with guns,
Yeah.
that protects the United States. They have none of that, so that's why they during the pandemic and all that stuff, they really cracked down on speech in the UK. They were arresting people for speaking out because they don't have the right to free speech.
Well, with the prince and his wife, they've been suing about everything. And over here, like, who I'm talking about, Harry and Meghan. Has anybody seen the South Park episode about Harry and Meghan?
That was funny.
There was some talk about Harry and Meghan because they sue the newspapers in the UK all the time, that they were going to sue the creators of South Park, the production company, and basically the creators of South Park said, bring it on. We've been sued by people that's got a lot more money and power than you do. We're not afraid of you. Bring it on. So that kind of just went off to the off into Never Land, because over here companies will spend hundreds of millions of dollars to fight something. I mean, that's the reason, the old lady that got spilt.
Yeah, isn't that how?
Got coffee spilled on her because she got drive-through window and got a cup of hot coffee. And she got $10 million back in the 80s. That's the reason she's still not been paid, because it's still in court.
Yeah, but Tom, that's also the reason why everything is so expensive in the U.S. is because of these ridiculous cases where people are getting 10, 20, 30 million. That increases the insurance. So medical insurance in the U.S. is ridiculous. A procedure in the U.S. that will cost you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, you can get the same procedure in Germany for $2,000, $3,000. Something's wrong.
Yeah,
that whole medical deal is an
But
issue.
in Germany, there's a limit about how much you can sue them for. I mean, here in our country, there's limits on how much if a doctor makes a mistake, yeah, he made a mistake, but there's a limit of what that mistake is. If you lose a body part, it's this much. If you die, it's this much. There's a cap on it. You can't just leave it and say, according to the emotions that they're the judge, we're going to give them 300 million, 500 million, $1 billion. Someone has to pay for that.
Yeah. And it all comes back down to the consumer. So it's just not. It's going to be nasty between starting the end of August till the end of 24. It's going to be nasty here. We're going to get bombarded. I've already talked to Dewey Cheatham and Hal and asked him if I can send a bill to all these people that send me all this junk mail. We got information on candidates that's not even part of our party, and I'm thinking to myself, are they just blatantly, just blasting out everything now to everybody because it costs so cheap? It's so cheap to ship out postage. But then again, all of that goes in my recycling bin, and then when the county picks up my recycling bin, they're having to deal with it. It's costing people more money than that shit. That 3 cents for 5,000 pieces of mail that they send out, which is a thorn in my side because I got some stuff in from Temu and it was free shipping and I spent like $10. I got 25 items for 10 items and it was free shipping. And then again, they can't even get Todd's item from point A to point B without it looking like it's been kicked across a football field by a bunch of toddlers.
Yeah, but that's Trump's fault.
No, it's not.
Yeah, he's the one who put that idiot up to run the post office that wanted to privatize it, and he wanted to take away all the machines so that people couldn't send in their election, and you all stole the election.
Oh my God, really? Okay, so you're gonna get this when you that's misinformation. You're gonna get this show taken down for misinformation. The president that removed the most mailboxes was Obama. You go back and look from his years, especially around 2012.
No, I saw it on CNN. That was only happening during Trump when they were taking out the machines.
You
I
saw
saw it.
you saw it on CNN. There you go.
See,
I did.
CNN. He's using CNN as a reference, Scott.
You want me to use MSNBC?
If you actually watch
None of them.
if you actually
Well, what am I supposed to watch then? Fox?
watch the congressional hearings with when Ted Cruz had the current postmaster general.
Okay.
Ted Cruz asked him. He said, so is this something we do every year? They go, yes. There are so many mailboxes that are scheduled for replacement and remove every year. Is this something that's unusual? He said, and he actually goes, actually, Obama moved. I look back in history, Obama moved more and removed more than any other president. But he said, but where's the cause for concern? Did anybody say anything back then that did my predecessor, who was here for so many years, have to come and answer to Congress about moving mailboxes and stuff? Or is it the people on the other side of the aisle who continue to ask me these questions?
Look, I remember when I was growing up in the U.S. and in the '80s, and Reagan was in the office at the time, and they were installing posts and post offices, and there was always postmen around and stuff like that. Stuff didn't really start going downhill until Trump got in the office and he brought that new postmaster.
So why do we even have somebody post? When's the last time anybody in this audience put a letter or something in a damn blue post box?
Probably never, because you can't put packages in them. You can't even put a padded envelope. You're not supposed to put padded envelopes in them. They're supposed to be for letters and cards.
It's been at least 15 years.
Well, I'll tell you this.
But beer, you're talking about. Okay, yeah, no, hold on. Let's put jokes aside. You're talking about because you live in Alabama or you live in a big city that might happen. But what about? I mean, that's just the thing about the post office, that it reaches into places where no one else goes, right? So you got places in the middle of Alaska the post office delivers to. You got places in the middle of with people. There's no one there. It's the boonies, as you all call them. That's what the cost is for. That's what I was trying to tell you. You have exception. I mean, here between the major cities, I can get anything shipped. But when it comes to rural areas, you've got a problem.
I don't live in a big city. I live in an unincorporated area. This ain't no big city.
He lives in Alabama. He lives in the sticks. I'm just kidding. We got some of the smartest scientific people.
If I drive 5 minutes that way,
you got some of the what? Stop lying. You got some of the what?
You realize
you said Alabama.
You realize
you said California.
In the great all 50 states of the United States of America, the city with the most engineers per populace is Huntsville, Alabama, right where I'm at. There's more engineers here per person than any other place in this country.
What?
That is Space Central.
Yeah, this is space and rock. We're the number one tech growing area and have been for years. The tech grows at like 30% here. It's insane how many smart people move here.
In the Huntsville and metropolitan area.
I've never heard of one person moving to Alabama. I've heard a lot moving out of Alabama. I've never heard of one person going to Alabama.
Oh,
you might want to quit watching CNN.
Yeah, you need to watch. You need to go online and read about Huntsville, Alabama, and the space program and all that kind of stuff. But
I thought the space program was in Florida and Texas. How did we get it to Alabama now?
Just go read the history.
Isn't it Cape Canaveral is in Florida, if I'm not mistaken? That's where we go and watch it after you go to Disney World.
You realize Huntsville was they brought it's because,
right, Pops? Am I right or am I right, Pops? Tell them.
It's because in the early 40s during the war they imported a lot of Nazi scientists here, and a lot of that's between here and
you I've seen you before.
In Knoxville, Tennessee, a lot of these Nazi scientists were, our civic center is the Von Braun Civic Center. Go look up Von Braun. He was an SS member, the father of modern rocketry. I went to an estate sale of his right hand man. I don't know, about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. There was Nazi stuff there. There was all kinds of rocket stuff. That was an interesting estate. So one of the cooler ones I've ever been to.
All joking aside, though, one of the highlights of growing up in the U.S. was just seeing how different each state was a lot. That showed a lot. I mean, you can go from D.C. to Philadelphia, which is only an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and it's a completely different. Some of the architecture sometimes, the architecture is different, the food is different, the makeup is different.
I mean,
so it's always fascinating to just go up and down and go to different states. It was almost like visiting a new country.
Yeah, look at the Northeast. You can go from Maine to Massachusetts to Vermont, and it's like you're in 3 different countries.
Yeah,
all those states are completely. I mean, it's.
Scott, what's the name of the tent? It's Oaks. I think it's Oak something. It's over in Tennessee, where they did all the nuclear research at.
Is it what, Oak Ridge?
Oak Ridge, yeah. That is a little podunk town.
Yeah, look up the
where
history.
They did all the research for, or majority of the research for
of Oak Ridge,
bomb act.
and how much nuclear stuff went through Oak Ridge, Tennessee. They talk about the Manhattan Project and everything that happened in Chicago and New York. A lot of that stuff was come out of the South, because that's what the Nazi scientists were down here.
A friend of mine, Bruce, his mother worked for him. She worked at the facility, and he said we all have FBI, CIA files, because when you were born and your parents worked at the facility, they started running a file on you.
Yeah, there's 5 or 6 German. You wouldn't expect it here in Alabama. There's 5 or 6 German restaurants in this town, just because of the sheer German population that was here.
And if South Carolina ever leaves the Union again, there will be no going back, because we got more nuclear missiles in South Carolina than the rest of the world does together. Because we have South Carolina has a major nuclear missile storage facility.
And the other thing about Alabama, everybody, Alabama's backwards. Look, you should see how many cars they built in this damn state.
Yeah.
Mazda, there's a huge Mazda Toyota plant here. They build Hyundais in Montgomery. They build Hondas outside of Birmingham. They build Mercedes outside of Tuscaloosa. I mean, there are so many cars that are built in this state right now.
You guys build anything American? That all sounds Japanese and German to me.
It's made in America, though. It's made in America.
No, there's not an American. 20 miles north or maybe 30 miles north into Tennessee, there's a huge Nissan factory. There's 2 or 3 Nissan factories within an hour here.
And we have BMWs in South Carolina.
The problem is these companies figured out how to get around the import taxes by bringing the parts in and assembling them here in the U.S. They save a ton of taxes by not importing full vehicles in.
We make Honda jets, which you know about this Honda jets, Felix, since you're rich. But Honda jets are manufactured here in North Carolina, and they're one of the best. They're one of the most top-rated jets. Small jets, light jets.
Yeah, I saw they got a new one that they're just coming out with. I think it's a 6 or an 8 seater, but the first one in that class actually has a restroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, Fishing and Picking made an excellent point. I mean, if Alabama is that great, why do the men have to wear bras just to sell them?
I tell you what.
Because some Alabama resellers are comedic geniuses.
When I saw that video short of yours with you with the bra, I took a picture and I sent it to Todd and I said, "Look, your friend has joined them. I guess if you can't beat them, join them."
Hell, my mother sends me a text message. My mother's 78 years old. Sends me a text.
I was going to hire you. I was about to hire you for my Hooters.
She's talking about, "You're crazy as hell." I'm like, she says, "I particularly like that little tuft of chest hair above the bra."
Scott, are you
Scott, I wanted to ask you a question. When you did that video, were you cold or were you just excited?
That was 2 T-shirts. What are you talking about? I see. So one of my friends sent me a message talking about. I like the way you shake your shoulders. I'm like, you're just jealous of my 48 Ds. They said, you're right, I am. I'm like, if you got 2 T-shirts, you can have 48 Ds too.
Scott, you never know what's going to come out of Scott's mouth.
And you know what? You know what is sad? I'm the tame one. My brother is 10 times worse than me ever.
Roberta says, how long has Scott been married to the same woman? And I said, I don't know, 25 years, because I knew you had your son that was
It'll be
graduated from college. I said, 25 years. She said, how did she put up with him? How has she put up with him that long?
And at 22 days, it'll be 32 years.
Wow. That's an eternity. I remember when Roberta and I first got married, and our friends were
Scott,
talking about
you need a diamond bracelet or a Rolex, or I'm here for you.
It's because
32.
I'm a catch. Roberta, it's because I'm a catch, damn it.
Oh, she's off today. She's in the bedroom. But she does. She's like, how did she manage? How has she lived with him that long? I said, because she's a glut for punishment. And she was saying it funny. She was not being serious, Scott.
Come on, buddy.
Because God knows we've got some friends that we're serious when they say, how have they been married for so long?
You want to tell everybody you hate fireworks too? And it's going to be worse tonight.
The only people that really like fireworks are the people that are selling.
The only reason why y'all don't like fireworks is you guys don't have a nice fireworks show. We used to go down in DC every 4th of July to watch the fireworks show.
You know what's wrong? You know what's
We're
wrong?
not talking about the big fireworks shows. We're talking about the little pops, the firecrackers and things like that.
Yeah, we used to go down and watch the big show at the 4th of July right at the monument.
Those big shows suck too because you know why? There's a bunch of people there. People suck.
Oh, well, beer. No, there's not a bunch of people. All you have to do is get a yacht. You can go out in the Potomac River in your own private yacht and watch it.
Yeah, Scott. Just get your yacht. And you fly up there in your private plane since you have a hangar right behind your house. I tell you what, though, I would like to try.
No.
I
thought all Americans had yachts.
Felix, why don't you bring your big old yacht over here to the U.S. and take me and
me? Why you keep telling? I'm from the third world. Remember?
Do I?
I'm from the third world.
Yeah, but y'all got more money than anybody else does.
We backwards, remember?
The whole electric thing starts kicking off, and then
we're not as advanced as you. We still have men as men and women as women. We don't have that third thing yet.
We can't.
We're not that advanced yet.
We can't argue with that. But
don't worry, Felix. Come over here to Alabama. I'll treat you to the best bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit you ever had. You won't be allowed back in your country, but damn, it's good.
Is it beef bacon? We have beef bacon.
Beef bacon.
Y'all don't eat pork, right?
Next you got turkey bacon. Ugh.
We don't eat swine.
Me either until 10 o'clock.
When crap hits the fan and you'll eat any damn thing you can get that stick in your mouth.
Oh well, that's a different thing. If you're starving and you're in the middle of a jungle and a pig pops up, you're allowed to eat it.
We have some pigs here in the Carolinas that you don't want them to pop up because they will eat you up.
How often do pigs pop up in the desert?
Felix, do you have a camel?
9 humps. I got a 9 hump special.
Okay. I was just wondering because my best friend's father always thought I had a pig farm because I was from North Carolina, and everybody has a pig farm in North Carolina.
Yeah, I have a 9 hump camel and I live in a 5-story tent.
Have you? This is a serious question. I'm not making fun of you or making fun. Have you ever been on one of these like where you ride the camels out into the desert and stay in tents all night. Have you ever done one of those kind of trips, or is that just an American thing that they do? They do for Americans. I'm gonna take that as a no. Because some friends of mine, he was doing some work in Dubai, and while they were over in that area, they went out one of those expeditions, and he says, "Man, it gets cold as a bitch out there in the in the winter at night. It's 1,000 degrees during the day, and it drops to 10 below at night." Listen, Fish lives over on the coast of North Carolina. You can't get more redneckier than that.
I know where he lives.
Felix?
He's the one talking about I'm waiting to see BP wearing ass patters and a bra short video. That's creepy. Next, he'll be telling you he wants to see me in this. I'm like, man, Fishy, you might want to go on a date with a female or something.
There was a bit of news.
Wait, save those blue undies for opening night at our Hooters. I'm going to launch a Hooters with your name on it.
I got purple ones too, and pink ones.
There you go. Put some glitter on it and stuff. Shine. Hey, can you just shave? It doesn't look good. You got that Taliban Hooters look.
This has been about 3 weeks. When I cut it almost off, I thought Johnny was gonna flip out. She's like, "What the hell did you do?"
That bra would look so much better with the beard off.
A friend of mine that she's a lesbian, and
that's me.
She subscribes to my channel. Anyway, she saw the short of Scott, my short of Scott from the show last week, and she's like, "I know her." And I said, "You do?" She says, "Yeah, I know her." She lives up in Maryland. I said, "No, that's a different person."
Beard, is there something you want to tell us?
I've already confessed I'm a lesbian, and so is my mom. What the hell?
I was like, is that true? Or are you just making fun of your mom?
My mom came out in the 70s. What are you talking about?
Okay. So you were like 6 when she came out?
My parents got divorced when I was 8. And Mom had a roommate.
A roommate?
For the next 15 years, and then she got another roommate. Yeah.
I don't care what anybody is.
I don't either. None of that bothers me. Be who you want to be.
As long as they.
Well, life is about choices, right?
Yeah.
If you're not allowed to make the choices that you want, then what's the point of living in life anyways? The issue is everyone should have the freedom of choice. It's just when you try to put your choice in front of me.
Yeah.
So if you want to do something, you can go do it behind closed doors. Hey, I'm saying this even for regular couples or whatever. I don't care. I don't need to see you making out with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whoever it is. You want to do that, you can go do that in the privacy of your own home. You want to get high, go get high in the privacy of your own home. You want to get drunk, go get drunk. As long as in your own home and you're not bothering, no one should be able to bother you or judge you or say anything about you. It's when you try to force those on others or bring it on, that's when you start having an issue. I could care less what makes you, what religion you are, what color, I don't care.
Scott,
it's just
that statement Felix just made is what's going to get it taken down. None of the other BS we've said is going to have it taken down.
That people should have a choice?
Yeah. That's what's going to bring it down right there.
I think, I think we were all created for, you're supposed to make a choice. It's the same thing with religion. Why would God judge me on something if I didn't have a choice in it? They say that you're supposed, God knows you're gonna. Well, if He knows, then I'm gonna do it, and how can He judge me on it? So it's all about choice. Life is choices.
Well, he knows,
Religion is about choice. Everything's about choice.
he knows you're gonna do it because he's not bound by time. And that's the problem.
Correct. I'm not saying that he knows what you're gonna do, but He's giving you the choice.
Yeah. People don't understand that there's the beginning and the end.
To everything, there's a beginning and the end. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's all about choices.
So Todd, have you lost anything else getting to a customer? UPS not paying you for anything?
Not lately.
Oh, and while I've been sitting here too, I would like to thank. Let's see what her name is.
That's just the other thing is I remember when I was doing the gold and silver. I don't understand how you guys can be shipping all the. I used to have a heart attack whenever I'd be waiting for something to get shipped to me, or what if it gets lost? What if it's this? What if it gets damaged? What?
I would like to thank the big girl in Breaux Bridge, Louisiana, for ordering 4 of the 3X shapewear outfits this morning. Thank you.
3 curtains. She got 3 curtains.
She got 4 pairs out of 3X.
That's a lot of curtains.
Believe me, Felix. When Roberta ordered like $4,000 worth of gold from a dealer, we worried till it got into our mailbox.
Yeah.
And then it was not like signed for anything like that. It was just stuck in the mailbox.
I'll tell you what the biggest.
Our mailbox is 50 feet away from the front of our house.
I'll tell you the biggest scam that someone pulled on me. I needed to buy a safe to keep my stuff in it. So, I wanted to get something that would hold the stuff that I own. So I was thinking, I'm going to be spending a lot of money. It has to be one of these best safes. So anyways, I looked it up, did all the research, found the best safe in the world, $12,000, right? And the guy, when he sold it to me, he was telling me, if you lose the key and if you lose this, we're going to have to bring someone from Korea because it was Korean made, and they can open it. Oh, okay, fine, whatever. 4 or 5 years later, my house gets flooded and the safe gets flooded. So I called the technician and I said, the safe is flooded. I need someone to come out and open it and stuff. So I'm thinking he's going to have to order. He's like, yeah, we'll have someone out there within 45 minutes to an hour. The guy comes out with a screwdriver and opens it in 30 seconds in front of me. I was so mad. He literally, this is a huge safe. It's 300 kilograms, so almost like 600 pounds. The guy literally opened it in less than 30 seconds.
It
must have been a master lock.
No, it's a diplomat. It's a Korean company, but it's just the way that he did it. He knew where to hit it and where to turn with a screwdriver. It was a huge screwdriver with a hammer, but he just hit it in one spot and it opened.
Have y'all seen that guy on YouTube, the lock picking lawyer?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he makes master locks are just. He's raised a war with master lock. They sent him a cease and desist and all kinds of crazy. He'll open a master lock in under 15 seconds.
And not with the fancy.
Fishing picking. What's so confusing? I'm a Muslim talking about God. Well, Muslims believe in the same God that Christians and Jews believe in. All three believe in the same one God. Republican ideas, but supports the donkeys. Yo, I was in love with Reagan growing up in the States. It's just Trump that I don't like. That's all. I used to think of myself as a conservative until Bush Jr. came along.
Who was Bush Jr.?
Bush Jr.
Number 44.
The guy after Clinton, before Obama.
I thought you were making a joke about Trump being another.
No. I'm just saying Bush Jr. was when the shit started go downhill.
People need to. They have called Trump a conservative. The only reason they call Trump a conservative is because the liberals have gone so far to the left that he looks like he's more. If you go and look almost word for word, policy for policy, Trump is Bill Clinton redone. I hate to tell all you Trump supporters that, but go look and listen to what Bill Clinton said in the 90s and what Trump says now. It's damn near word for word.
Yeah, and they're both the biggest scammers.
the hell?
That's where it all went downhill. Look, to me, the last great U.S. president, and this is my own personal opinion, was Bush Sr. After him, shit just went downhill quick.
You've got to be out your fucking mind. That fucking spook from the CIA. You must be out your damn mind.
He was the last. He was the last of the good presidents of the U.S. Look at everyone that came after him.
There's a reason
Are
why.
you telling me? Hold on. Are you telling me Clinton was better than Bush Sr.? You telling me
I'm not saying either one
Bush
of them.
Jr. was better than Sr.? You telling me Obama was better than him?
I'm not saying either.
You telling me Trump was? Come on.
There's not been a good one since Reagan. When Reagan was done, that was it. Bush Senior. Oh my God.
Hey, we love Bush Sr. We got roads named after him.
Do you really?
I'm pretty sure they probably have a road or two in Kuwait named after him.
Do you live in Dubai?
No, I live in Jeddah.
You live in a Volkswagen?
I live on the Red Sea.
I thought, hey, he's been lying to us. He's homeless. He's living in a Jeddah.
That's it.
No, I was thinking you lived in Dubai. Is that?
Tom, when I graduated university and I was heading back to the States, my professor looked at me and he said, "Son, I'm going to give you one piece of advice. If you don't have a presence today in Dubai, Mumbai, Shanghai, you can kiss your what's it called? Your pension bye-bye." And he was an American.
I've watched several YouTubes about Dubai, and one person's, it's a wonderful place to live, blah blah blah. It's very expensive, but it's a very nice place to live. And then I watched somebody else, and he's like, "It's a shithole."
I couldn't live in Dubai.
So what's your thought on it? Is it?
I couldn't live in Dubai. I would, if I was going to live in the Emirates, I'd prefer living in Abu Dhabi than I would in Dubai. Dubai's got way too many expats. It's too much of a tourist area. It's not a place for you to raise your family. Look, one of the nice things about moving here and raising a family here is when I first arrived here 22 years ago or something like that, I was able to save 80% of my salary at the end of the month. Forget what the salary was. It makes no difference. I was able to save 80% of it. And by being able to save 80% of your salary at a young age, when you get to 35, 35 to 40s, you're able to then go out and open up your own company or your own thing and do your own, because you have a savings that you can fall back on if something, God forbid, was to go wrong.
So where does the government get all its money for social programs, or do y'all not have social programs?
We have free education, we have free healthcare, we have free everything from the oil money. Oh, unlike where your oil goes to Exxon and to Texaco and to BP and to, we spend the oil money back on the people.
I don't get none of it.
Exactly, because Exxon takes it all.
Yeah, I guess that's the capitalist in me. They've bought or leased the land. They've spent all the money to have it to drill oil.
Oh, Tom, we had that deal, the same thing. We had a deal with, I think it was Exxon or whoever it was, because it was Aramco at the beginning. It was an American company, American Saudi company. When they first built everything, it was, for the first 5-10 years, they get 30 or 40% or 50% of the oil. After that, they get 30%. But after a certain years, they get nothing. The government owns it, and then that gets cut back into the people. Wow. And our social programs is like, let's say, God forbid, you get something really serious or something like that, and you don't want to be treated here. You could actually go to the Ministry of Health and ask to be, taken to an American hospital or a Canadian, and they would pay for it. You can get that paid for.
Wow.
It's a different system, but for us, it works. We love it. So.
Well, everybody does it differently, and I'm not saying that sarcastically or anything. I'm just saying every country does it differently based on their needs. Holy crap!
Yeah.
It's Go ahead, Scott. Todd, what were you going to say?
Just
it
would be a lot different there had you not had oil money. Are there any Middle Eastern countries that don't have oil?
Yeah, there is. The
So-
oil countries are about 5 or 6 only. The rest
Are-
don't have oil.
Are their educations and healthcare paid for by the government?
Well, depending on the country, but yeah, in some countries, yes, but it doesn't mean. But then the quality of it is not up to the standard that you would want. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It might still be covered, but they don't have the facilities to it. But if you look at other countries like Turkey as an example, they're not an oil-rich country, yet they have they have free education, free healthcare, free.
What's their income tax like?
I don't know.
Because that's the big thing over here is that they'll start talking about, well, Norway, they have free everything.
No, Norway's different though.
But Norway also has everybody pays at least 15%.
Yeah, but Norway is one of the richest countries in the world in oil. So that's why they're different.
What I'm saying is, though, if you start making everybody pay 50, our poor
Tom,
start paying 15% of their income into it,
yep,
they will lose their fucking mind.
Yeah, but here's what Norway's been able to do over the last 30 or 40 years. They took themselves from being one of the poorest European countries that discovered oil. They took that oil money and they started to reinvest it in what's it called? It's not industrialization, but they're investing their money on new concepts,
right,
and educating their people. Where today now they're the 3rd or the 4th richest country in Europe. And it's not just because of the oil innovations. They spent a lot of money on innovations.
Well,
it's all about innovations.
All these oil-rich countries are going to go down the tube because when the electric automobiles and all solar powers and all that starts kicking in, it's going to kill the industry.
Do you know who the largest investor in electric cars is?
Probably one of the oil industries.
Saudi Arabia is one of the largest investors in electric cars. They've got Lucid, and they just launched their own product called Seer. So they bought into Lucid, I think 30 or 40% into Lucid car manufacturing.
Better watch out. So, Toyota's gonna fuck them all.
Well, they bought into Twitter.
Toyota is going to destroy the electric car industry. Remember
that.
Well, Toyota's the one that's the one that's the most backwards out of all of them. I don't know why you said Toyota, because they're still trying to do a combination of hydrogen, electric, and gas.
The hydrogen car is going to be the one that wins.
Yeah, until it explodes with you in it.
Have you not seen the testing on this thing? You can get shot with a gun that didn't go off.
First of all, I don't know why you're talking about cars. Have you not seen the line, the new thing that they built, where it can take you for like 1,000 kilometers, 500 miles in less than 30 minutes?
That's what
it's like a little tube that you go into, and then the tube flies off.
That's what they're gonna put you guys in. That ain't gonna fly over here. They're building that. They're building that in your country, not ours.
Yeah, and you know why they're building it here? It's easier to build it here because you've got a lot more flatlands and stuff like that you can put across.
Have you been to Kansas?
I wish we had a better train system, than we do.
Have you been to Kansas? You can see from one side of Kansas to the other.
Yeah.
You can do that also in Idaho, don't you?
Do what?
And where?
Idaho?
No, Idaho's got mountains.
Isn't there a part of it where you drive across it where it's just a flat lands like like right outside of Vegas when you're driving out from Nevada?
Idaho has mountains that go right through the middle of it. One of my buddies, Idaho Hillbilly, lives in the mountains of Idaho.
And Bum Picker, no, we don't have no Scooby Dubai. We got Sinbad.
I'm telling you, the hydrogen car is going to be
Sinbad and Aladdin.
You can the hydrogen car has got better range, and you can fill it up in less than a minute. I mean,
but it's more dangerous. You've got a hydrogen gas tank in your car.
You tell that
if that explodes, you're done.
You tell that to a first responder who's responding to a Tesla wreck who gets shocked because they didn't deactivate the battery on that damn thing at all the voltage. How many of those cars? How many of them exploded so far?
They're going to have
versus battery fires. Let's do that one.
All the technology has got goods and bads, and it's got to be It's going to have to be worked out. Sooner or later, there is going to be a way to for electric cars to come out. I mean, to work efficiently. But the only one right now, most people go out and they get in their truck and car, crank that ignition up and stop and get gas because it works. And I think that's
Yeah,
what
that's what
most people in this world, in this country want. They don't want to be bothered. They just want to.
Whenever I see an electric car, I just roll right up next to them and put my car in sports mode so you can get that sound going. just to let them figure out what it sounds like to be in a car again.
So you're one of these people. If you had a big diesel truck, you just roll coal on them.
Yep.
Hey Maggie,
I'm right.
I'm sorry I didn't see you come in. They've got to get that fixed. I've already told them that they've got that for the host. When a new person pops in or makes their first comment in the chat, it needs to have some kind of like a ding to let you know.
Yeah, because God forbid you read the chat.
Y'all were just got such intellectual conversation. Such a little intellectual conversation, and mine scrolls. Okay, it's like,
Yeah. So
especially when lag and bum crack lag and it starts getting going. He'll make it spin on
Did
through.
you just admit that Felix and I are both intellectuals? Lord have mercy. You've got to
Lag says lag is saying I'm an American. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the union for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is that it?
Nope.
Close to it.
Republic.
What? Come on, we used to say that every day.
It's not a union, it's a republic. To the republic for which it stands.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Union.
And it's one nation under God, all one line.
Yeah. One nation under God, indivisible, with justice and
with liberty and justice.
With liberty and justice for the whites, right? That's it.
For the who?
For the whites.
Are we getting racist here now?
Oh my God! Don't get me started. There's only one race in this country you're allowed to discriminate against,
and that's white men.
I guess white people in general. Every time I hear anything, oh my God! The Supreme Court just struck it down. Affirmative action. Affirmative action means anti-white. All this bullshit they put on TV, it means it's code for anti-white.
But there's affirmative action in almost 90% of the world. In 90% of the world, the countries have some type of affirmative action.
The affirmative action is horseshit. You are who you are. In this day and age,
affirmative action doesn't have anything to do with who you are. Affirmative action, from what my understanding is, it's to go for you're going for minorities and stuff like that to try to get them a better education, try to get them better places in the workplace, try to get them more entrenched in different organizations and stuff like that.
And it is filling quotas based on race. That is all it is. It's not trying to get them better. That makes it sound like it feels better. But
no, it's not about feeling better. No, Beard. Look. My children. I'll give you an example. My kids.
I need 6 Asians. The Asians are the one to get discriminated the most. But I'm at college and I've got 100 places.
Okay.
I'm going to put 10 black, 10 Asian. But what if I don't have 10 black that qualify? But I've got 13 Asians. Oh no, you can't have 13 Asians and 7 blacks because that's gonna. So we're gonna take somebody who doesn't qualify.
Right.
But hey.
And here's what I'm trying to say to you is maybe then it should be changed where affirmative action isn't based on color, but based on needs and means.
Don't get me started. I can tell you what's wrong with the black race.
It's not about a race. I think it should be about a means test. Where does that person come from and did he have the means? It's not fair for someone whose families are rich and are able to pay $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 for school fees every year, including private tutors. And then you're going to judge him according to someone who had to work, as he was going to school. So maybe it should be based on means tested, not color or race, but a means test. If you come from a poor neighborhood, then maybe you should be given a little bit of an upper to get you out of that poor neighborhood.
That same kid in that poor neighborhood has everybody around him calling him an Uncle Tom and everything else because he's trying to better himself. You know, why is that society's? You know, there's larger problems than we're that's affirmative action is a sort of a band-aid. We're not fixing the problem. You've got to fix the. You got to get.
Affirmative action wasn't supposed. It was exactly what you just said. It was supposed to be just a band-aid. It wasn't supposed to be there forever.
Yeah,
You,
but
you guys just
60
took it.
years,
You
he
took
needs
it from a
to- he
band-aid
needs
and
to
made it
the
into a
government.
plaster, and then it just became something that people were going after, and then it was a way of making money because then now colleges can charge.
60
Whatever.
years, 60 years later, it's still here.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I'm saying. Maybe you need to change the law where it's not about race; it's about means.
the U.S. government can screw up anything. Anissa, you've got your daughters are young teenagers. When they get ready to start applying for colleges, they need to apply. If they've got good grades, they need to apply to the Ivy League universities, any of the private university, big private universities, because they have big pocketbooks and they can give big scholarships. Because we went to a back when my oldest son was getting ready to graduate from high school. We went to a meeting and this woman was talking about Harvard. She asked how many people wanted to go to Harvard, or kids were applying to Harvard, and we were all laughing. She said that's the first. The Ivy Leagues is the first place you need to apply. If your kid is not going to live at home and go to university, if they're going to go away, that's where they need to apply for. Because like Harvard's got like $1 billion endowment, and they have to give like 15% of that away every year, or they lose their endowment, lose their tax deductible part. She said if you got good grades,
Hey, Tom, it's not about grades.
let me finish. If they want you to, if you've got good grades, they will help you find the money, because there is lots of people that can write that $100,000 check for a year at Harvard that their kids are stupid as bricks and they don't want them to go there because they need smart people to keep their academic ratings up. There
First,
you go. There's your, if nothing else in this, there is your little helpful hit today. Tell them that they're going to start looking at Ivy League university.
then why is Harvard full of Asians and Europeans and Arabs?
Do
You know
I?
that international students pay 3 times more than American students, right?
Well, they should.
Okay, then do you know that then Harvard will look at an international student before they look at any American, right?
Because
It's a business at
I
the
don't
end.
know. I don't have any kids that's going to Harvard.
It's all about money. It's easier for my son to get into Harvard than your son to get into Harvard with the same grades. The only reason is because I will pay 3 times more than what you're going to pay.
Well,
It's a business.
and
I'm
people
talking about U.S.
You're gonna pay $100,000 a year. These guys are gonna pay $300,000 a year. What do you want to take?
If your son wants to go to University of South Carolina, University of North Carolina, Alabama, you're going to pay twice as much as everybody else does.
And it is not about just Harvard. Don't miss that. The University of Alabama is 55% out of state at double tuition. It ain't
Correct.
about it's every university.
Every university, international students have the best option to get in because they pay 2 to 3 times more tuition than anybody else. On top of that, they're also going to be, that they're going to be living on campus, so you're renting them a room. You know that they're going to need English language for the first year or two, so you're already getting that money out of. It's just a pitless money hole. It's about money. It's about money. It's a business.
How about one of the biggest Asian communities is at the University of Alabama? You know why?
Why?
Alphabetically, Alabama's first in most major university lists. I'm kid you not.
I can understand that because Auburn would be right behind it, right?
Yeah, I kid you not.
Um,
It was like that when I was there in the late 80s.
Listen, all I know is if the school doesn't have a "the" in front of it, I'm not going there.
My doctor that's not with that practice anymore. When he was my doctor, his son, I asked, he's an older guy, I said, are your children doctors? And he said, no. He said, now I have a daughter that's a nurse, and she works in a private practice, so she's got an 8 to 5 kind of thing. But he said, my oldest son is a plumber, and there's times that I feel like I want to ask him for a job to carry his tools and his pipes and stuff around with him. He said, because he said, people, asked me, was I disappointed that my son didn't become a doctor? He said, no. He likes that kind of stuff. He's happy. He's making a hell of a lot more money than I am when it comes down to the bottom line. And but he said, I didn't have a problem with it. And he said, besides, when I have to have plumbing jobs come in, he comes over and does it for me. Otherwise, it's like $300 to have a toilet put in, plus the cost of the toilet. But
I always teach my kids, if they're not going to like what they're doing, or that find something else. If you don't enjoy what you do and you don't go and do your own, I mean, it's not just, people think that education is once you're out of university, that's it, you're done, and then you go and you get a job and stuff like that, and that's done. I'm 49 years old and I'm still learning. If you're not learning in the job that you're working in, and that means you're not having fun. Find something that you actually enjoy, because then you'll do a lot better in it.
do you actually have a job?
Yeah, I do. I run a public relations agency.
No, I was being serious about it. I didn't know whether you did you just sitting around all over the world buying and selling watches and stuff like that.
I've only been able to do that because I have a successful agency. I started my own agency about 11 years ago with one of my cousins. I used to run Ogilvy in the region. He used to run an American company called H&K.
Mm-hmm.
And we came together and we opened our own agency, and very successful, and it's a lot of fun. Like I told you, to the point where, my agency does what I want to do. So I don't want to do the corporate communications or crisis and all that stuff that we usually do. So I've focused it on travel. So a lot of my clients are airlines or hotels and stuff like that. And basically my job is, I'll get a call once in a while, and someone will say, I need you to bring 6, 7, 8, 9 journalists from the region and bring them here because we want to show them this new hotel that we've launched. And we go on vacations in the Seychelles or the Maldives or all these nice exotic places, and then come back and make sure that they write about it. So, but I'm enjoying it because I'm going with them to have fun.
Right.
I've got to see the world doing it.
A friend of mine's son they have a big plumbing operation, residential and commercial. His son has a degree. He has a PhD in archaeology, some derivation of it, but it's under the archaeology umbrella. He works 6 months of the year here in the country as a plumber, and then he goes for 6 months. He and his wife, who's also an archaeologist, they go to Egypt. They go everywhere, and they work for 6 months on digs and stuff like that. And they like it because they're not begging for money all the time, from the different funding institutions.
Look, my business partner just moved. He took his family and moved to Morocco for the next 6 to 8 months just to enjoy it there, because the work here is being done anyways. And us being at work itself, I mean, the work that I do, I might work maybe 5 days out of the month, 6 days out of the month. The rest of the agency is running itself. I just need to be there when it's time for like a senior training, crisis communications training, media, some of the trainings that I do. Or if there's a crisis within a client, then I'll go handle that. Or if I'm traveling, then I'll do the traveling.
That's the reason I like dirt.
You want to know how she's put up with me for so long? This morning when I woke up, her alarm clock goes off at 7:15. I'm like, it's July 4th. What'd you set an alarm clock for? I didn't want to sleep in and waste a day. It is now after 10 o'clock. She has set the Tempur-Pedic up, and she is still thumbing through TikToks. I'm like, it's a good thing you set the alarm clock to get up so you didn't waste this day.
Well, look at us. We've been online yakking like a bunch of old ladies.
Yep.
Oh, that was sexist, wasn't it? Old ladies for 2 hours and 11 minutes. I got to get out.
I got to run. Yeah, I have to run because I got to take the kid to football.
To the what?
Football?
You mean soccer?
Yeah, soccer. That's it.
Okay, that's why I said do what. Anyway, anybody got any final words, reselling words, anything?
Yeah, buy a Rolex. 2023 is the year of the Rolex. You can't be going out there and selling, and people won't take you. You'll make more money if you wear a Rolex. You got to look rich to be rich.
It depends on. Hey, buy some of these, you might make more money, ladies. There you go.
And make sure it's an ROLEX, not a ROLEXX.
Well, I've got an ROLEX and an FOLEX. If you want a Folex, we can do that too.
So anyway, Todd, you got anything you want to add?
No,
You've been sitting there quiet. You got to learn to be a little bit more.
I'm just sitting here learning all this knowledge getting passed on to me.
I don't
is
know
like,
how you taught a bunch of teenagers, because you just don't jump out there and say what you're going to say.
yeah, it's easy when I don't let them talk. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so on Todd's show on Friday, nobody
Yeah.
talks.
Friday,
He's on
nobody
beat.
talks but me.
Friday's Todd's time.
Nah.
So you gonna do a show tomorrow, Scott? Okay. Everybody that's still in here that hasn't passed out from boredom or we haven't pissed off.
What's the topic for tomorrow?
I don't know. If I hadn't pissed them off, I hadn't tried hard enough.
Damn, we still got 14 people watching.
How to sell plus size panties on Amazon.
You know, I got to really sit down and analyze Scott's show. He's got 14 people. I mean, he'll have 100 people watching his show, and I'm doing good if I get 14.
Yeah, same here.
I guess I need to get John and Steve in here with me.
Yeah, they didn't have any of them last week.
Well, John flipping ain't easy. He got to 10,000 subs, man.
20, I thought it was 20,000.
Or 20,000, yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, he's made a lot of content though. I mean, look at how much time he puts into it.
We love you though, Maggie. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you wasting your morning like this. Even though I know you otherwise you'd be down on the beach drinking Mai Tais and pina coladas.
Yep.
So anyway, y'all, thanks for coming in here and hanging out with us. Hope we haven't offended you too much, because I do care that I offend people to an extent. And
I'm too old for that.
Be sure and check Scott's show in the morning.
But the difference is, I'm old enough that I respect others. I enjoy talking to, Felix has got a different opinion on a lot of stuff. It makes me really reinforce what I think and makes me question what I think to make sure I'm half-ass right about in my own mind anyway.
Yeah.
It's not like, today's generation that, oh my God, put me in a crying closet. He said he didn't agree with me, put me in a crying closet.
Oh, Scott, you're not right. You're just not right.
The most emotionally weak generation ever.
Yeah, and I'm afraid that if the economy doesn't turn around and things don't start headed in a positive direction, they're going to find out that whining don't do them any good. But anyway, thanks for joining us. Have the rest of the day as a great 4th of July. Be safe if you got the firecrackers out.
Yeah,
be safe if you're going to be out drinking.
Don't end up with 9 fingers.
Yeah, don't end up with 9 fingers, or with the nickname Stumpy. So anyway, have a great one.